Welcome to the Wellness Biz Academy, where we turn passionate practitioners into profitable practice owners. I'm Cass Duffield, corporate business strategist and naturopath, showing you how to build a thriving practice with simple, proven systems that work. Let's create the practice that you long to have, because it's time to start living your passion and growing your practice. Hi everyone and welcome. I'm so excited to be here today. This is our first episode for 2024. How amazing is that? I don't know about you, but I am very excited and very looking forward to a super year in business and also a super year in life. So I hope you've had a wonderful break over Christmas and New Year, and I hope you're coming back into your new year refreshed and renewed and ready to go. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about the top mindset shifts that need to be made so you can create an abundant business for yourself. As a practitioner, a healer, a helper, we can often be stuck in a mindset where we don't feel like we deserve to earn money for what we do. We don't deserve an abundant income. There is something about doing what we do because it has passion, because it has heart, that we can sometimes feel like we don't deserve to earn a decent income doing it. The fact of the matter is that's really not true. What we do in the realms of work that we offer is so transformational for people. We change people's lives. We change their health, their well-being. And that is worth all the gold in the world. The people that come to you for help, I am sure, rave about you afterwards and are so grateful for the help that you give. So part of my mission in what I do in my business and what I do in this podcast is to try and turn the tables on some of those scripts that we might be playing in our own minds that might be holding us back from creating the kind of business and the kind of success that we actually do want. Just because you are a healer or a helper does not mean you cannot create an abundant business. And so I'm on a mission. We're going to talk about that today. The top 5 mindset shifts that I've found in my work over the last 2 decades that are really important to put you on the path to creating the abundant business that you really want to have. Now, those that have followed me for a while know that I'm very vocal about the fact that I don't think you can wish your way to success. I don't believe that you can sit in a corner thinking happy thoughts and create $1 million business. But mindset is very important. If you don't believe you can make it happen, you won't. If you don't have a positive mindset, you are going to be forever fighting against yourself. So there is definitely elements of mindset that are so important to bring into this, and we're going to talk about those today. The first one that I want to bring up is understanding what money really is. A lot of healers and helpers get very uncomfortable when we talk about money. And that comes from that healer wound that we seem to have carried with us, where we don't feel justified in charging for what we do. If we can understand, though, that money is energy, income is energy, and there will be good phases and there will be less good phases, it ebbs and flows. It is like water coming into your life, coming out of your life. We need to be able to be okay with that energetic flow. It's just an exchange, and that money coming into your business, you have exchanged healing and helping. You have up-leveled somebody's life in such an amazing way. So I think it's really important to be open to that energetic flow. By the same token, we also need to be open to that flow leaving. There will be ebbs and there will be flows. Life does change. 1 minute there'll be money coming in, the next minute maybe not so much. Now, my hope is, if you're following this podcast and you're following me, that you're putting steps into your business, into your marketing, into your business model that will help you be consistent and help you have consistent revenue. That said, there will still be months that are better than others. There will still be phases in your business that are more abundant than others. What we don't want to fall into when we're having a less than abundant phase is that scarcity mindset. When we are sitting in a scarcity mindset, that's a mindset of fear around money. And energetically, that does not align with having an abundant income. When we are worried about money, when we're fearing scarcity of money, we create more scarcity around money. So we want to avoid that. Understanding that money, income, revenue is just an energetic exchange, and it's just an energetic flow. We have been raised with this thought pattern that income is a limited resource, that there's only so much in the world, that we have to work really hard for it, that we have to fight tooth and nail for it, and that if someone else has a lot more than us, then there's not enough for us. And that's just not true. In my experience, there's actually more than enough abundance. And it doesn't matter how well someone around me has been doing. I've always been able to achieve my goals and be going as well in my business as I wanted it to go. So I think that's an important understanding. Now, the second mindset shift that I want to make for you around abundance is when it comes to pricing. I see this happen a lot when things are getting tough for the healers and the helpers. They start to discount their services. They change their pricing. I will see them come into communities and groups and do the pricing by collective and ask in the group, hey, what does everyone else charge right now for a consult? What are you charging for a package? How do you price your program? Now, that's never going to give you a great input because the people you're asking in those spaces are not your ideal clients. They are not the people who are going to come and work with you. The second thing to note around pricing is that playing with your price does not bring in clients. What brings in clients is offering value, offering experiences and transformations that make a huge difference. One of the big drivers in your business for new clients will actually be referrals and word of mouth. If you offer a great experience to somebody, they will rave about it, and that is worth 10 times more than any other piece of promotion you can put out there. So instead of playing with discounting, start by looking at the services and offers that you have, and let's make sure that they offer amazing value. The first part of that is obviously making sure they deliver what you promise, whatever that transformation is, and that they're meeting the needs of your ideal client. So when it comes to pricing, the mindset shift I want you to make on abundance is not to play with price in terms of discounting. The third thing, and this is something I really want everybody to take on board in 2024, the way that the economy has been the last couple of years and the way that it will continue to be throughout this year and a little bit of next, we really need to step out of that hobby mindset. We're not playing a game with these businesses anymore. You are a business owner. You haven't created a job for yourself. You are not an employee. It is time to step up and step into being CEO of your business. You've heard me talk about this for years. Every year we do Panic to Planned, and I talk about that mindset shift of stepping into being CEO. This is something you really need to start doing in your business this year. That allows you to make rational decisions. It allows you to look at your business, take the emotion out of it, and look at what's working, what's not, and make some very rational decisions to create a business that will continue to grow, even though economic times may be a little bit challenging. When you step into that mindset of being the CEO of your business, you'll be looking at things from a very different perspective. You won't be looking at the offers you put out there and thinking, gee, I put so much time and effort into working out that one, I don't want to let it go. Instead, you'll be able to look at that and go, gee, it's really not making any money. These few offers, people are loving them more, they're buying them more often, and that needs to be my focus. So that's what we need to do as the CEO. And then you need to also look longer term over the next 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. What does your business need to grow? Just as if you would. If you were the CEO of somebody else's company, you need to start thinking strategically and you need to start thinking long term. When you start a business, you can generally get by for the first 2 or 3 without a plan. You start your business, there's energy, there's a lot going on, and people come and they check you out and they send their friends. After those first few years, though, you see a downturn. And this has happened to so many clients that come to work with me. They seem to just be riding on the wave of startup for the first couple of years, and then things to go downhill a little bit. And that is because there has not been a plan. They have not been thinking as the CEO of the business, and they haven't made a plan to grow it. Now, the fourth mindset shift I want you to make here is it is time to accept that you need help if you want to grow. You only have two hands. You only have so many hours in the day. If you want to grow your business, there becomes a point where you need help. Making a plan for that help can be as simple as, when I've got 3 new clients, I'm going to hire a VA to help with my social media. Or when I've got a consistent $1,000 a month coming into my business, I'm going to hire a mentor or a business coach. It could be that when I've got 20 clients a month, that's my max, and I'm going to hire another practitioner to come into my practice. When it comes to growth, there will come a point where you need help. And I think it's important to plan for that. The last mindset shift that I want to talk about today, with regards to becoming more abundant in your business, in your practice, is to stop being afraid of taking a risk. It's innate in us, I know, this self-preservation to not take risks, to do the most careful thing. And sometimes, particularly in our businesses, that holds us back. We could be avoiding things that could become a great opportunity for us because we're afraid to take a risk. We might be avoiding investing some money into our marketing or some advertising or some support or coaching because we're worried about the risk. And I totally get that. Those that know me will be laughing as I say that, because I am one of the most frugal people you will ever meet. And when you work with me one-on-one, what I do in one of the first sessions is help you pare back your expenses. I think that a business should be running on whatever that bare minimum is, because that means there's more profit for you to be A, building your own abundant life, and B, investing back into your business to grow it over time. So I'm not one to waste money, and I'm not one to take unreasonable risks, but you need to take risk within reason. Your business should feel challenging. It should feel exciting. It should feel like you're stretching yourself and stretching your capabilities, because that's what growing and learning is all about. I don't want you to take ridiculous risks. I don't want you to invest in something that you absolutely can't afford. I don't want you to take risks that make you feel insecure. But I need you to be able to rationally look at these things and think, is this something that will help my business move forward? I can tell you firsthand experience. When I started Health Haven Naturopathy, I was only not even 3 months in, and I had the opportunity to take on my first staff member. This person was a naturopathic student. This person would be able to do reception for me as well as dispensing, and understood everything about the business from the naturopathic point of view. So this person was going to be a great asset. I was only 3 months into my business. Yes, I was already fully booked 5 days a week, but I was only 3 months in. It felt risky taking on an employee at that point. But I took the risk and I did it anyway. And it was the best thing that I ever did, because having that person there meant that I could actually see more people every day. I didn't have to do my own dispensing. I could come out of a consult, hand the prescription and the notes over to my assistant, who could do the dispensing, do the invoicing, rebook an appointment while I was back in with my next client. It felt risky at the time. It really wasn't a risk. I can see now in hindsight how important it was for the growth of my business. The second time that I took a risk was when I took on the clinic space. So you guys know that my clinic started as a mobile business, which then moved to a home-based clinic that within 6 months was in a professional space. Taking that leap to take on a commercial lease, a 5-year-long commercial lease, was a big one for me. And I wrestled with this for a couple of weeks before I made a decision. At this point in time, my business was going really well. But I was also a solo parent to 2 little boys. I had an assistant who had a full-time wage, and I had a lot of responsibility on my shoulders. So taking on the clinic was a big risk. And I'm not shy in saying that once I signed those papers to take on the clinic, I didn't sleep for 3 days. But once I got over that, it felt like the right decision, and it always did. So again, that was a calculated risk, and it was the next level of taking my business forward. So I ask you to have a look at your business this year. What does it need to grow? Where can you take it? What have you been avoiding taking a risk on that could push you forward? Is it marketing your business? Is it putting yourself out there and being visible? Perhaps what you've been avoiding is taking on some help, getting a VA, getting support, getting a mentor. It might be that you've been avoiding taking on another location, an extra practitioner. What is it that you've been putting off? Because it could be that one thing that could skyrocket you forward in 2024. So to wrap up today's episode, thank you for being here. We've been talking about the top mindset shifts that I think are important to be able to create an abundant practice and an abundant business as a healer or a helper. And we talked about the energetic flow of money, that it comes and it goes, and we want to be okay with that. We talked about pricing and how we don't want to play with discounting. We want to offer value and offer real transformations. How next we want to step into being the CEO of the business and make important decisions from that rational CEO perspective. Next, we talked about how we need help to grow, that there's only so much time in the day and eventually you need help, and putting a plan for that and when that's going to come in will be really important in your business. And we finished up talking about risk and how an educated risk, a balanced risk, is often a great way to look at moving your business forward. So I hope that's put you in a great frame of mind to start 2024. I look forward to seeing you at our next episode, and thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you for listening to the Wellness Business Academy podcast with me, Cass Duffield. If you are interested in growing your practice, come get my free guide, The Practice Success Toolkit, at cassduffield.com or grab it in the show notes. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.